I'm Stan Furberg, President and Chief Executive Officer of NOVEC, the Northern Virginia Electric Cooperative. We're here this morning at the clubs at Quantico as part of the Salute to the Armed Forces event put on by the Prince William Chamber. NOVEC is the red, white, and blue sponsor of the event, and we're here because this is something that NOVEC has done for a number of years. We've been supporters of a number of foundations that help vets once they come out of the service. And about 9 years ago, in 2008, NOVEC was the recipient of the Pro Patria Award, which is given to companies that support the military. One of our own, Gerald Gardner, had been stationed in the Middle East for a year, and during that time, employees and the company provided help to him and his battalion, and also to his children and his family who were back here. And so we provided food at Thanksgiving and presents at Christmas. And as a result, when Gerald came back, he nominated NOVEC for this very prestigious award. It is something that's given on an annual basis, and usually it goes to very, very large companies. But in our case, a smaller local company, we were awarded Pro Patria because of our support for Gerald and his time overseas. We've done a number of other things in the community and nationwide as part of our National Trade Association, the National Rural Electric Cooperative Association. We were one of the early supporters of the Veteran Hiring Initiative. We'd hired a young woman who had been in the Army for 5 years, including 1 year in Afghanistan, and she joined our team as part of our Public Relations Division. And as a result, we were one of the leaders around the country of the electric cooperatives in this Veterans Hiring Initiative. And so that's kind of some of the background behind it. Again, we're glad to be here today as the red, white, and blue sponsor, and hope that folks who see information about the event later on will get a better appreciation for what it's all about.
And I am absolutely humbled and honored to be here today participating in this event in which we salute those who serve. We'll start out right away here with a presentation of colors. And at this time, please stand.
Color guard, attend, but carry. Colors. Ready, cut. Present. Colors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming?
And our Quality of Life sponsor is Ziders Enterprises, Inc., a quality of life company providing individual and family support, mission expertise to military veterans and federal customers. So at this time, I'd like to invite up here Paul Richardson, who is the President and CEO of Ziders Enterprise, to say a few words. Paul.
Thank you and welcome to the Salute to the Armed Forces hosted by the Prince William Chamber. Thank you all for dignitaries here today, our guest speakers, the great people that have set up this event for us. Please, round of applause for everyone.
And of course, the members of our forces.
Special thank you
To the commanders
and representatives
and garrisons.
I appreciate
That support participation today. As the President and CEO of Ziders Enterprises, I am honored
to be here again
And
for
for-
the second time
to represent.
Can you hear me okay? No. Closer? There? Better? No?
Better? All right. Thank you, trained for this.
So I think you can help.
Uh,
As the President and CEO of Ziders, I'm honored to be here for the second time to represent the 1,000 employees that make up our organization. I am pleased today to support the Prince William Chamber as the Quality of Life Vision Partner. When I'm at events like this one, many times people ask me, who is Ziders and what do you do? This is not an uncommon question, of course. In fact, it is most expected. I often find myself answering by starting with the pleasantries of who we are and what we do. But I soon find myself moving quickly beyond the common answer to the uncommon one, the why. But I first start by saying that Ziders is a veteran-owned business. We're a government contractor that provides human capital services to the military and veteran community. Our headquarters has been here in the Prince William County for over 30 years. During that time, our employees have been supporting service members, veterans, and their families worldwide, both on land and at sea. We're in all 50 states and territories, and places like Bahrain, Misawa, Sasebo, Japan, Gaziantep, Turkey, the UK, Germany, Rhoda, Spain, Singapore, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, and of course, even here at Quantico. Zyder's mission is to deliver quality of service and support that make a positive difference for individuals, families, organizations, and communities. To accomplish this mission, we focus on programs that provide education and counseling in areas that strengthen the readiness and resiliency and empower people to a better quality of life. Many of these are the same causes that our guest speaker, Deshauna Barber, Miss USA, also supports through her engagements as Miss USA. Thank you. Zyder's works on operational stress issues for our military leaders, develops and delivers family support training programs for our forces, provides military spouse career counseling and job finding services, and offers personal financial counseling to service members, just to name a few. More important than what we do is the why we do it. We do it so we can help a Marine spouse navigate the education and employment maze to find meaningful work, maybe achieve her goals and support her family. We do it so we can help Navy leadership better attend to the needs of their deployed sailors and their families when they carry on the daily tasks of life and work. We do it so that the airman on the flight line or the soldier downrange can understand that they can manage their financial pressures with some basic education and support. We do it because we know that our individual service members' personal readiness is key to our military might. We do it because we know the families support them and need help. We do it because we also know the journey does not stop for our veterans when they take off the uniform. In fact, we know the journey can become more muddled and difficult for the veteran with the continued challenges of unemployment, PTSD, and suicide. Like many of you, we do it because we care. Prince William is a unique place in the area's rich in tradition and proud legacy of supporting both active duty and veteran populations. Zyder's employees have a first-hand connection with this. In our community, we bring experience and dedication to service. Almost 60% of Zyder's staff is military affiliated, with 30% military spouses and 29% veterans. I'm proud to announce that Zyder's was recognized again as a military-friendly employer, military spouse-friendly employer, and military brand-friendly company. We'd like to say we have the passion for the mission and the expertise for the solution. From our perspective, working with the military and business partnerships, hiring military spouses, and veterans is good business sense. And I ask all in the room today that if you're an employer and you can work with a military spouse, military family, or veteran community, please do so. It's good for business. Zyder's is proud to be a quality of life vision partner with the Prince William Chamber. The goals of our company and the Chamber align well in the pursuit of greater quality of life for the people and the families of our community. We look forward to seeing our community grow and thrive as the premier Northern Virginia locale in which to live, play, and do business. I salute everyone here from the Armed Forces and with a special recognition for those that support them. Again, thank you.
And actually, on behalf of our Prince William Chamber of Commerce, I wanted to present Paul with our Quality of Life Partner plaque for 2017-2018. Paul. Now I'd actually like to invite up Eric Tatum. Eric is from Dominion Energy, and he would like to say a few words as well. Eric?
Good afternoon. I'd first like to recognize three of my colleagues from Dominion Energy that are here with me today. Deborah Johnson, Director of Community and Governmental Affairs. Kenny Wilkins, he's our base manager at Fort Belvoir. And Kenny is a United States Marine Corps veteran. And Matt Kellum, who's our Military and Recruitment Program Coordinator. And Matt is also a United States Marine Corps veteran. I'm very pleased to represent Dominion Energy at today's Salute to the Armed Forces. Like all of you, the leadership at Dominion Energy has the utmost appreciation and gratitude for the men and women who actively serving or have served in any of the branches of our armed forces. In fact, our commitment is so strong today that 1 in every 5 of Dominion Energy's new hires is a veteran. Additionally, we provide a 100% salary differential for up to 5 years for deployed military veterans, along with benefits that covers deployed reservists and their dependents. We are also pleased to award 5 $5,000 student veteran scholarships to interns and co-ops in recognition of their military service. Most recently, Dominion Energy launched the Dominion Energy Veterans Network, an employee resource group dedicated to providing networking and career development opportunities for our veteran employees, with a focus on attracting and retaining the brightest and best into our workforce. Beyond staffing, the Dominion Energy Charitable Foundation is very pleased to have awarded several grants in 2017 to deserving military and veteran nonprofit organizations. Among them, a $50,000 competitive critical needs grant to Operation Renewed Hope for the Permanent Housing for Homeless Veterans Initiative, along with grants to the Military Child Education Coalition and Hero Homes to support their vital work with active military personnel, veterans, and their families. We are especially excited to be the 2017-2018 sponsor of the Hilton Performing Arts Center Veterans and the Arts Guitar Workshop Series that provides area veterans the opportunity to learn and develop their guitar skills from a master teacher in a academic environment. Also, many of you know our military bases around the country are privatizing their distribution systems. For many years, it has been our honor to have been the electric provider for Joint Base Meyer Henderson Hall in Arlington and Fort Belvoir in Fairfax County. We are in discussion with other local bases at this time. And we are proud to have recently won the contract to be the electric and natural gas provider for the world's largest base, Fort Hood in Texas.
Thank you, Eric. Eric also serves on our board of directors for our chamber. One other group of people that I actually didn't forget to recognize, but I realized that I should recognize, and they're sitting in the back corner, and that's our chamber staff. And they work tirelessly to put events like this on and answer your questions, to do anything for us. So I want to give them a round of applause too as well. Now I get to introduce, it's a pleasure to do so, our master of ceremonies, and that is Major General James Jones, retired Air Force. That's the formal name. Many of you know him as Rev, and that's what he'd like to be called. So, Rev, why don't you come on up here? Rev is a partner and senior consultant for Two Blue Aces, a consulting firm with a focus on strategy, leadership, and solutions at the executive level. Rev is also the chair of our Veterans Council at our Prince William Chamber of Commerce. So, Rev, come on up.
Thank you. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make the mic work. Can you hear me if I don't use the mic? Is that going to be a problem for anybody? Because this makes me want to break out in song. So first of all, let me say my personal thanks for giving me the opportunity to serve as the chair of the Veterans Council. It's a real honor for me to do that and work with the people that are associated with it. Most of you know about the Veterans Council. For those of you that don't, our mission is to help promote regional growth and stability throughout our area of responsibility, as we say in the military. But we do that by collaborating with organizations to help train, mentor, and provide opportunities for employment to our veteran community. And for those of you that have not had the opportunity to consider employing one of our veterans, I ask you to take this opportunity to talk to the person next to you that likely is one, and you will understand what they bring to our society. They're great people, and so we're happy to be able to do that. We do that by having regular meetings. We do this on the second Thursday of every month. I invite you to join us if you haven't had an opportunity to do that. We also collaborate with other organizations, provide opportunities. We're going to be going down to the Assembly on the 7th of February to explain our mission to them. We're also starting a new initiative where we're trying to take startup companies, bring them into the council, and let them pitch what they're doing and see if the members of the council can provide them some opportunities. So it's a great council. I'm just really pleased to be associated with it. I'm going to ask those of you that are a member of the council, could you please stand? They're great folks. Come on. Guys. So I certainly thank you for what you do. And Suzanne back there, thank you so much. Suzanne really is the one that holds the glue that holds us all together. So Suzanne, thanks for everything that you do for the councils, all that you're involved with. If you have any questions about the council, Suzanne will be happy to help you with that. I'd like to take this time to introduce the most special people that we have in the room here today. And those are our World War II and Korean War vets that are sponsored by Phase 2 Staffing and Contracting, which is a VA verified, service-disabled, veteran-owned small business. As a matter of fact, they are hosting a veteran hiring event in March, and thank you for doing that. The details for that event are on the flyer that you found on your seat when you came in. So, our World War II and Korean veterans will raise a flag as we introduce them. So first we'll start with Charles Vosio, who is in the United States, was in the United States Army, fought in the Korean War, and has joined with us, joined here with us with his wife Helen. Next we have Irvin Whitaker, who's a Coast Guard veteran, served in World War II, was also a guard for President Kennedy's inauguration, and was at his casket after he was assassinated. Wow. We have Robert DeFrancis with us, who served in the Army Air Corps back in World War II. We're also pleased to have Ms. Marion Ackley, who's here representing the Navy Waves, the Women Volunteer for Emergency Service, which was the World War II women's branch of the United States Naval Reserve. So on behalf of everybody here, thank you for what you did for our country. I'll tell anybody that listens to us that your United States military is the best fighting force that has ever been. We have America's greatest sons and daughters. But we stand on the shoulders of those that came before us. So thank you for laying the foundation for us, and thank you for your service and sacrifice to our country. So no program about veterans would be complete without the opportunity to recognize our fallen comrades that aren't able to join us. I hope you had an opportunity to notice the fallen comrades table that's at the front of the room. Many of you are very familiar with this. I do want to take just a small portion of time to explain it to those of you that may not be familiar with what it represents. It's a round table, and that signifies the endless commitment that we have in remembering them. And this is not only for fallen comrades, but for POWs. And so our never-ending commitment to account for them. Except for a single place setting. And that represents the frailty of our isolated men and women when they may be in captivity. You notice the glass is inverted. It's because that they are not able to join us in these types of festivities. It also has a plate with a lemon slice, which represents the bitterness of the sacrifice that they've made. And it's got salt, which represents the tears of the families that will never forget them. There's a candle, and it represents the flame that hopefully guides them back to us when they're lost. So I personally know that, like I said before, we can't ever thank those that have gone before us for their sacrifice enough, nor for the families that still bear that sacrifice. So to honor them, we'd ask Harry Horning to come up. He'll play taps for us. And as he's doing so, I'll ask that you please stand. Following taps, we'll have a moment of silence. Thank you. Please take your seats. Thank you. Now it's my honor to introduce Colonel Joseph Murray, Marine Corps Base Quantico Commander, and Sergeant Major Williams, who are going to give us some installation updates and introduce us to their selection of honorees. Thanks, sir.
Before we do that, I do want to, welcome everybody to Quantico. We're glad to have you here. This is a wonderful event. Congresswoman, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. Debbie, you've done a tremendous job. Jim, thank you. General Jones, it's great to have you here. And for just Prince William Chamber, what a great way to continue a wonderful relationship. I mean, we're neighbors. We're neighbors with Belvoir, and thank you for welcoming us into your neighborhood. And events like this just make us proud to be in uniform, make us proud to be Americans, because that community can work. It's working together, and that's the best part about this. Before, I do want to acknowledge and brag about a couple folks real quick. Our junior RTC from Quantico Middle High School, I think they took off. Are they still here? Quick raise of hands. No, gone. All right, so they took an exam this morning. They got a break, and now they're heading back out to take their physics exam. All right, well, I had Mr. Lofgren, Smitty, she was on the right end, Amy Padilla, possible Air Force Academy, and then Patty Kelly, who looks like he may be going to the Naval Academy. So some true all-stars. Let's hear it for them. And, like I said, thank you to the Chamber and Captain Barber. Thank you for being here. I look forward to hearing from another product of Washington, D.C. Obviously, you took the classes, and I was on the other end of the spectrum. But you know, for those of you that went to D.C., you know, when we leave school, we graduate with a PhD. Private high school diploma. So for those of you, we do share that, and that's about all we share right then and there. She's a lot better looking than I am, but thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here with us. I do, before Sergeant Major and I bring up, my favorite part about this 2 years ago when we did it out in town was for you to join us in celebrating some well-deserving Marines. That's the best part about this. For a day, you know, normally we do it in front of a formation of Marines. Now these two Marines will get to say, I did it in front of my neighborhood, my community. That's what's wonderful. So before I do that, I do want to highlight a couple things on the base. So we're getting ready to do another environmental impact study. $4.93 million is impact to the community. More than half of that is energized by Prince William County. What's great about the Chamber is that you work with our retirees. Our Marines are coming off a first tour, and within the last 9 months, we put 1,300 Marines through the transition course. So they're out there. They're looking forward to interacting with you. One of the great successes that we've just had, we teamed up with Embry-Riddle University and Microsoft. And we're putting 9 soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines through an MSSA program, an 18-week program. They will graduate and they will have guaranteed jobs. Anything involving Microsoft, they're looking for more involvement. So it is tremendous. It's here at our education center. Miss Parissa Featherstone, a former E9 in the Marine Corps, runs that program for us, and she does a great job attracting that talent in. And we got 9 more we kickstart in May. So that said, again, thank you for everybody coming here. If you need some more cheesecake, it's the best cheesecake east of the Mississippi, so head on back over there. At least south of DC anyways, but please, come on in and hit it up. What I will ask, Sergeant Major, if you could grab our well-deserving Marines, the folks that are going to read the citation, and for those that can stand, we're going to pull our great Marines up here, and we're going to go ahead and conclude our portion of time to our great Marines.
Marines be awarded. Center. North.
Left. Face.
Attention orders. Department of Navy. This is to certify that the Secretary of the Navy has awarded the Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal to Corporal Brandy M. Balderas, United States Marine Corps, for meritorious achievement while serving as an administrative specialist, Manpower Reserve Affairs Department, Headquarters Company, Headquarters and Service Battalion, Marine Corps Installations, National Capital Region, Marine Corps Base Quantico, from 1 January 2017 to 31 December 2017. During this period, Corporal Balderas' outstanding military presence, leadership, and personal example were beyond reproach, and demonstrated a continuing personal pride in herself and the uniform in which she proudly wears. She displayed a sustained superior performance of duty, far above that in her contemporaries, and inspired self-improvement in her fellow Marines through sterling example, expertise, and conduct. Further, she consistently displayed exceptional qualities of leadership and initiative that earned her the distinction as the Marine Corps Installations, National Capital Region, Marine Corps Base Quantico Non-Commissioned Officer of the Year for calendar year 2017. Corporal Balderas' noteworthy accomplishments, perseverance, and devotion to duty reflect the credit upon her, and were in keeping with the highest traditions of the Marine Corps and the United States Naval Service. Given this 22nd day of January 2018, for the Secretary of the Navy, J.M. Murray, Colonel, United States Marine Corps, Commander, Marine Corps Installations, National Capital Region, Marine Corps Base Quantico. Department of Navy. This is to certify that the Secretary of the Navy has awarded the Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal to Lance Corporal Dylan J. Williams, United States Marine Corps, for meritorious achievement while serving as a finance technician, Marine Corps Combat Development Center, Combat Development Company, Headquarters and Service Battalion, Marine Corps Installations, National Capital Region, Marine Corps Base Quantico, from 1 January 2017 to 31 December 2017. During this period, Lance Corporal Williams' outstanding military presence, leadership, and personal example were beyond reproach and demonstrated a continuing personal pride in himself and the uniform in which he proudly wears. He displayed a sustained superior performance of duty, far above that and his contemporaries. Also, he inspired self-improvement in his fellow Marines through sterling example, expertise, and conduct. He consistently displayed exceptional qualities of leadership and initiative that earned him the distinction as the Marine Corps Installations, National Capital Region, Marine Corps Base Quantico Marine of the Year for calendar year 2017. Lance Corporal Williams' noteworthy accomplishments, perseverance, and devotion to duty reflect the credit upon him, and were in keeping with the highest traditions of the Marine Corps and the United States Naval Service. Given this 22nd day of January 2018, for the Secretary of the Navy, J.M. Murray, Colonel, United States Marine Corps, Commander, Marine Corps Installations, National Capital Region, Marine Corps Base Quantico.
Right. Congratulations. Great job. Hurrah. Thank you.
Down here.
Face.
So to help you congratulate your honorees, Colonel Murray, and we're so proud of them, as I know you are, we have a gift for each of them, which is a one-night stay complimentary in Potomac Mills with British. I'll leave these with you to hand out.
Thank you. All right, no parties at the Hampton Inn. All right, come on, guys.
Now it's my honor to introduce the garrison commander from Fort Belvoir, Lieutenant Colonel Tomlinson. He has his command sergeant Major Terry with him here. So, gentlemen, thank you for joining us, and we'll look forward to meeting your folks and your updates as well.
Good afternoon. How's everybody today? Well, thank you so much, Prince William County Chamber of Commerce, for inviting us to participate here in the annual salute to the Armed Forces again this year. I was here last year. It's a fantastic event. Thank you to the Chamber and its members for the strong support that you are giving to our active duty members, their families, our veterans, and retirees. And working with our community partners, particularly the Chamber of Commerce, is important to the success of our overall mission at Fort Belvoir. That's why I welcome every opportunity to engage in a dialogue to further our community relationships. Because as the garrison commander, and as part of my command team, we view these engagements as critical opportunities to strengthen our relationships here in Prince William County, Fairfax County, as well as throughout the region. It's that continued bond, friendship, and community engagement that serves as a driving force, keeping Fort Belvoir the premier Army installation in the National Capital Region. As you well know, Fort Belvoir has seen enormous growth over the past 10 years, including an increased joint population. Only 25% of Fort Belvoir's population is Army. That should give you an indication of the size and scope of the mission sets there on Fort Belvoir. A diversity of mission partners. We have over 130 mission partners on Fort Belvoir, which run the gamut of mission sets on Fort Belvoir. And we have the expenditures of millions of dollars in military construction and highway improvement to support our growing missions. Fairfax County, Fort Belvoir is the largest employer with an economic impact of $14 billion to the National Capital Region as well as to Northern Virginia. This continued activity at Fort Belvoir brings me to a genuinely good news story, which I'm sure many of you are well aware of. Next slide, please. I'm pleased to report, after years of work and planning, the National Museum of the United States Army, our home and our heritage, is well on its way to becoming a reality and gets closer each and every day to its eventual completion. The museum, which will sit on about 84 acres on Fort Belvoir, adjacent to our premier golf course, is scheduled to be completed in late 2019. And it only feels like we just broke ground yesterday. Its 180,000 square feet of space will feature over 30,000 artifacts, documents, archives, and images, vehicles, and more than 15,000 pieces of artwork which celebrates our Army heritage. Museum officials estimate the complex will attract up to 500,000 to 700,000 members and visitors each year. That's a huge impact, not only to Northern Virginia, Prince William County, Fairfax County, but as well as Fort Belvoir. This will create enormous opportunities for Fort Belvoir, Prince William, and southern Fairfax counties, as the museum will become an obvious tourist destination. So as you see, Fort Belvoir is very much alive and active and is here to stay, and will continue to serve as a driver to the economy of the National Capital Region. Lastly, I want to thank the business community of Prince William County for their commitment to helping our transitioning veterans with finding job opportunities. I know the Chamber members recognize hiring veterans is crucial not only for the good of their businesses, but also it's the right thing to do for Prince William County and our country. I strongly believe that companies that make a concerted commitment to employ these outstanding men and women, many of whom have dedicated and sustained life-altering injuries, will send a strong and unwavering message to those who have volunteered to serve our nation, that their sacrifices will be rewarded for what they have endured for the defense of this country and the world, which is why we're here today. All that our veterans and military members want is the opportunity to show you what they can do. Thank you all again for giving us the opportunity to participate in this important community event. And thank you for your continued friendship and the support to us at Fort Belvoir. Now, I would like to take the opportunity to introduce the Fort Belvoir Garrison Command Sergeant Major Perry, come on up. And we want to take the opportunity to introduce two of our outstanding soldiers from Fort Belvoir who represent the best of us and what the best of America has to offer. Sergeant Griffin, PFC Miller, get on up here. Let's go. Okay, a little bit of discrepancy. I keep telling you they couldn't handle 6 foot of me. All right. Hey, all kidding aside, Sergeant Griffin comes to us from the Old Guard. Okay, our premier soldiers that support the National Capital Region in a historic fashion. He now serves on Fort Belvoir and was hand-selected as the Army Combatives instructor in and on Fort Belvoir, as well as the headquarters battalion. He serves as an instructor for Level 1 and Level 2 Army Combatives training, and has competed both at the regional and the all-Army level in support of the same. We wanted to take the opportunity and the achievements of Sergeant Griffin to recognize him publicly for all he's done for the Army and his mission, but also as being a great and fine soldier. Let's give him a big round of applause. Next is PFC Miller, young soldier. Been in the Army less than a year, right?
Year and a half, sir.
Year and a half, I'm sorry. Okay, a little over a year. Comes to the, currently serving in the 212 Military Police Detachment, which supports the National Capital Region, and is absolutely a very important mission in supporting all the soldiers and sailors, airmen in a joint mission across not only Fort Belvoir, but the other installations, the other 3 installations around the National Capital Region and MDW. He's an HR specialist, and in his time supporting 212, has done over 90 personnel administrative actions in support of the detachment. He comes to us as a hardworking soldier. We want to recognize his achievements here today, so let's give him a big round. Thank you so very much. Let's give him another round of applause.
Thank you, Colonel Tomlinson. So if you ever need a reminder, you've heard me say that our military has some of America's finest sons and daughters. There's 4 great examples. So thank you for all that you do. And Colonel Murray, Colonel Tomlinson, thanks for your leadership, and to the Sergeant Majors as well. What a great leadership team, so thank you.
Now it is my pleasure and honor to introduce our keynote speaker, and for me this is a first. I've had the good pleasure over these many years to meet and introduce a number of elected officials and celebrities. I have to say this is the first time I've had the opportunity to introduce someone who is not only an active part of our military, but is also a former Miss USA, and that is Deshauna Barber. I'm going to have to resort to my crutch here, my glasses. In June of 2016, Captain Deshauna Barber made headlines and history as she was the first woman actively serving in the United States military to win the Miss USA title. Her win broke both stereotypes not only in pageantry but also for women in the military. She is the daughter of an Army Master Sergeant who served in Special Forces. She was commissioned in 2011 as a quartermaster officer in the U.S. Army Reserve, worked as an IT analyst for the U.S. Department of Commerce, and is currently a logistics commander for the 988th Quartermaster Detachment Unit in Rockville, Maryland. In addition to her military service and her pageant title, she's also really smart. I've had a chance to chat with her before the event today. She attended the Virginia State University, where she earned a bachelor's degree in business management and went on to earn a master's degree in computer science, information systems at the University of Maryland. During her year as Miss USA, she partnered with a number of organizations that support military personnel and veterans. She has been a tireless advocate for soldiers suffering from PTSD. It's now my honor and my privilege to introduce to you our keynote speaker, Captain Deshauna Barber.
Thank you all so much for having me. This is such an honor to be in a room filled with so many amazing people that are focused on the betterment of our veterans and our military families. I first received the call from Suzanne, I think probably like June, July-ish time frame about coming here. So this has definitely been a long time coming, and I'm so incredibly honored. You all have absolutely no idea. Before I start, I want to put on my timer because I can talk for days. So I don't want to take up all of your day. But anywho, thank you guys again for having me. Like I was saying, I am honored, and I currently made history. I am somebody that had the opportunity to play two sides of the cards. And every time I go to events like this that aren't military events, it's almost as if I have to convince them that I'm actually serving the military. I have to say, don't let the dress fool you. And the uniform comes on. It's a whole other story. Like I said, I'm Captain Deshauna Barber, and as you all read from my bio, I am Miss USA 2016. I currently serve as a full-time motivational speaker, and I also still command my unit out of Rockville, Maryland, which is the 988 Quartermaster Detachment. As I was practicing this speech over the past few days, I've actually had somewhat of an issue. I felt very drained and almost uninspired because of the state of our nation right now. And it is true and very obvious that we are divided. And I believe that it is the American way to find each and every opportunity possible to bring us together. So today, I am incredibly excited to leave you all with a bit of inspiration that focuses on the responsibility of each of us as individuals to use our platforms, no matter how small and no matter how big, to raise awareness on the importance of taking care of the ones that take care of us, and that is our veterans. What are we doing as individuals, organizations, corporations to impact our veterans and their everyday needs? So today, I'll be walking you all a little bit down memory lane. This lane is focused on how I became Miss USA and how I used my platform as Miss USA to raise awareness on mental illness in the military, specifically post-traumatic stress disorder, and the importance of dedicating resources to the betterment of our veterans and their families. So this is a question I get a lot. Obviously, I'm Miss USA 2016. and obviously I'm a soldier. Everyone asks, how did these two things happen? So for those that don't know, I come from an all-military family. Father, mother, sister, brother, all Army. It was not an option. Thank you. I am the only officer of the bunch, and they never let me forget it. I come from a military family. I was raised in a very militant household, to say the least. I've traveled all over the country as my dad continuously was stationed in different parts of this nation, and my mother followed along, and so did myself and my siblings. So it was almost instilled in us to make sure that we serve our country in some way, shape, or form, and that capacity just so happens to be through the Army. I was 17 years old when I graduated from high school, and I went on to focus on my degree at Virginia State University, where I decided to sign up for the ROTC program, and eventually went on to commission in 2011. When it comes to being Miss USA, I was between my freshman and sophomore year working at Target. Does anyone know the Target off of Prince William Parkway? I know half of y'all have gone there, I'm pretty sure. I used to work there. You might recognize me. Anywho, I was there for around 6 years. I started my senior year in high school, all the way up until my senior year in college. I would go there and work during the summers. This particular summer in 2009, I was working in the women's department folding clothes, tidying up, and I noticed a lady across the aisle staring at me. And I'm just not trying to pay her any attention. I was actually folding clothes with another person, and she continuously said, man, that lady is staring us down. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should call the police, because she's really staring hard. She eventually makes her way closer and closer to us, and eventually she walks up to me and I say, hello, may I help you find something? Just so you all know, that's a Target slogan. We are required to ask that. So if you all are in Target the next time, know when they ask you, they're not being polite, they're just doing their job. Anywho, so I asked, may I help you find something? And the first question she says to me is, were you born in this country? And I was immediately offended. I said, yeah. I was born in this country. She goes on to say, well, how old are you? I say, I'm 19 years old. She says, do you have any kids? I said, no, ma'am, I don't have any children. She says, are you married? I said, no, can I help you find something? So she says, you are so beautiful. And I said, well, thank you. I did what I could this morning when I got ready. And she says, I think you could be the next Miss USA. And I don't think I laughed as hard as that day that she had the nerve to say something so absurd. And I said, Miss USA, like Sandra Bullock, Miss Congeniality, pageants? Are you talking about pageants? And she says, yes, I'm talking about pageants. And I said, ma'am, I plan to join the Army. I have absolutely no intention on putting on a dress and walking on stage. And she says to me, please just meet me tomorrow at Starbucks. That's across the street from that Target. You all ever been there, right next to the Chick-fil-A? Mm-hmm. I was so happy when they built that Chick-fil-A. Anyway, so apparently I was a very open-minded 19-year-old because I actually met this lady the very next day at Starbucks. And she brings this foot-tall stack of pageant books. And she just throwing them in the air, excited, and dresses and gowns and all these things that come with competing in a pageant. And I'm looking at her almost in fascination at the things that I'm seeing because like I told you all before, my family was not the playing with the Barbie dolls and the makeup and the let's do the hair thing. My mom was not having it. She was kicking us out the door. No video games, play outside. That was my family. So pageants almost gave me a chance to get in touch with the feminine side I had never experienced. So 3 months later, she convinces me to enter into my very first pageant, which was Miss Virginia USA. 19 years old, very exciting. I just knew I was going to win. Ooh, I knew I was going to win. I lose. I lose epically. I compete the very next year and I lose again. Mind you, before you get to the Miss USA stage, you need to be able to win your state first. So, second year, I lose. Third year, I go back and I lose. Fourth year, go back and I lose. Fifth year, go back and I lose. But guess what happens the 6th year? I lose. I sure did lose. Because I had the opportunity to pick up my phone and call her up and say, you told me I could be the next Miss USA, and I can't even win the state title. So she says to me, Deshauna, just keep trying, just keep trying. So in May of 2015, this amazing and incredible young woman passes away from leukemia. In December of 2015, I go on to win Miss District of Columbia, USA. In June of 2016, I make history as the first soldier to win the title of Miss USA. And by the grace of God, I had the opportunity to spend an entire year talking about our veterans, which leads me to the main point of my speech today. My very first interview as Miss USA, I sat down with a young woman, and I remember this so detailed to this day that I could not believe it. One of the first questions she asked me is, why support our troops as a platform? Why post-traumatic stress disorder as a platform? Why are we talking about the military in terms of your platform? Don't you think there's a more appropriate platform to discuss when it comes to being Miss USA? Because mind you, everyone, I immediately, almost every single interview, the first thing I want to talk about is our veterans. The first thing I want to talk about is our military families. That is the forefront of my conversation, but unfortunately, when you sit down with certain people, it makes someone uncomfortable when you talk about 20 veterans that commit suicide each day. Sometimes the statistics of it all affects people in a negative way, especially those that are not directly affected by the 1%, which the military represents, that 1%. My simple reply to this young woman was, why not? Why not talk about our military? And you know, that question, it really kills me. And I went on to ask her right after the interview a little bit about herself. And to my discovery, which I already assumed, is she, like many Americans, has absolutely no direct connection to the military or anyone in the military. No family, no friends who have ever served. It is because of that interview that I realized even more how important it is that I use my platform as Miss USA to be a voice. In an industry where post-traumatic stress disorder, mental illness, unemployment, suicide, the VA backlog are rarely discussed. And how important it is that we work for our veterans and care for them deeply as a nation. On the same hand, my question is, do we feel as a nation that we owe it to our veterans to keep our military and their families at the forefront of our good deeds? Sometimes I question if people really understand the hurdles of the 1% and their families and what they face on a day-to-day, which leads me to the word responsibility. An American responsibility, not just to have a support our troops bumper sticker, not just to have a tweet that goes out about how important it is to support our veterans, not just to post an American flag on your Facebook, or an American flag on your Instagram. Not just to wear American paraphernalia because it feels good, but rather actually dedicate time to the full extent of our capabilities to supporting our troops. To me, it's more than a slogan. To me, it's more than talking. It's action. It's putting your feet on the ground. It is taking the opportunity to have events like this that are dedicated to talking to employers, to talking to influential people in the community about the importance of our veterans. And we happen to be almost at the mecca of an area focused on the veterans. A community, as the DMV, has the most highest population of veterans than any part of the country. We are in the most effective area there is. I wonder when it comes to our capabilities. If we're using the full extent, because if we were, would we be losing 20 veterans a day to suicide? Would we have an extensive VA backlog where there are veterans literally waiting years for service? Would we have 39,400 homeless veterans? Would we have 220,000 veterans that are currently unemployed if, in fact, as a country, we were using every single capability and bone in our bodies? Would these statistics be so high? The only way we in this room can impact our military and their families is if we actively encourage the people around us to support that very effort, not because you asked them, but because they feel a sense of responsibility. To the ones that hold the foundation of our constitutional freedoms we have in this country, there is a huge disconnect when it comes to understanding veteran needs for an individual that has no ties to the military. It's almost as if platforms and discussing the military has a certain face to it, as if a beauty queen, the nerve of a Miss USA to sit in front of me and talk about post-traumatic stress disorder when I would rather talk about the best lipsticks to wear on a Sunday morning. That is the impression that I received as Miss USA, which is why I forced the conversation. I wasn't looking for it. I decided to have it. And as we sit here in this room, I encourage you all to do the exact same thing. I encourage you all to make sure that each and every opportunity you have when you walk out the door to have a conversation with someone about our veterans, I suggest you have it. Because I'm sure they got sick of hearing it from me. And I did not care. But honestly, what comes with being a Miss USA is a responsibility to a platform. And that is one platform I don't remember ever hearing. I got tired of talking about lipsticks, and quite frankly, I got tired of the red carpets. What I wanted to do was be in the VAs, which they gave me the opportunity to do. But I wanted more. And that is why, post Miss USA, I've had the opportunity to travel all over the country to have these discussions with amazing people, just like yourselves. So many Americans care. At the same time, to invoke action, we might need to give them just a little push. Actually, let's give them a little kick, if we can. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that you are the push, you are the effort, you want to impact the 1%, or else you would not be here. And it is our responsibility to be that push, to start that conversation, to hold that event, to make that phone call. It is up to us. So thank you all just for being here. A round of applause just for you all being here. And thank you so much again to the Prince William Chamber of Commerce for having me. This has been an absolute pleasure and honor to be surrounded by so many people that are dedicated to our veterans, such as myself, my father, my mother, and my sister, and my brother. It has been a true honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim. If for nothing else, we are flexible in this job. So, thank you so much. And as a little token of our appreciation, these are beautiful wind chimes that have been made at QMT Wind Chimes in Manassas Park, Virginia. So, enjoy and thank you. And keep on talking. Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure. I'm going to give this to you. Corliss is up here, and she is not going upstairs. No, she's not going up the stairs because she has heels on too. Yeah. Well, you can just hand it to her. My heels. And she can stay there. Rest of my heels. She's our Liberty sponsor today, and these events couldn't be had without that our commitment. So, are you comfortable there, Corliss? Or are you good?
If I'm not comfortable, I'll sit down.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
A little more than 50 years ago, and 125 pounds, I moved to Prince William County as a military spouse. Over the past 50 years, a lot has changed. However, the difficulties that confront military spouses in finding employment has not changed. I've heard if you see something, say something. But I believe if you see something, do something. I see a problem. I see something that is broken. Today, I commit to do something. My company, Contract Solutions, has a new initiative, Military Spouse Career Initiative, a national effort to partner with employers across America to address the challenges and barriers that prevent military spouses from obtaining employment. Military spouses are intelligent. Military spouses are qualified. They are available. Yet, military spouses continue to stand at the door of closed opportunities. As military spouses wait outside the door, they're often forced to make a choice between their families and their careers. Not surprisingly, they choose their families and forsake the careers. I stand today inviting you to join us in this critical call to action, to be a part of the solution to a problem that for too long has gone unresolved. I stand here today asking you to join us in caring about the problem, creating viable solutions, and committing to change that is not working. We need to commit to change. We need to commit to change that which is not working. Finally, today, I ask you to care. I ask you to create. Today, I ask you to commit. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's now, we've got all these inspiring words. Wow. Thank you. This is such a powerful lunch, and I'm so glad that many of you are here today to join us. I'd like to introduce our warrior sponsor, David Surgeon from First Command Financial Planning, and he's going to say a few words, and we'll be finishing up.
Thanks, folks. Okay, I'm going to limit this to just a few words since we're right at the tail end of the luncheon, but Colonel Murray, Lieutenant Colonel Tomlinson, Congressman Comstock, Captain Barber, my fellow chamber members, and representatives of the greatest generation. It is an honor to stand in front of you this afternoon. I thought I'd give you a flavor of First Command Financial Planning's commitment to our military and Department of Defense clients by reading an excerpt from the following press release, which was posted to Berkshire Hathaway's Business Wire last Friday. First Command Financial Services announced today that it will extend direct deposit to its military and federal employee clients as part of a comprehensive plan to address potential financial hardships in the event of a government shutdown. In quotations, First Command is committed to doing all we can to ensure that our clients are not financially harmed by government actions or inactions that are beyond their control, said Scott Spiker, CEO and Chairman of First Command. During the previous shutdown in October 2013, we stepped up to help our clients with zero interest payroll advances and other financial offerings. As we face the prospect of yet another government shutdown, we again commit to help our clients and ensure their family finances are squared away. This program, although not needed this week, may again be needed in 3 weeks, It is designed to ensure that the payroll advances will be transparent to our clients, who will see the usual direct deposit amount credited to their account if the government fails to pay. Our mission statement is coaching those who serve in their pursuit of financial security. From the press release, I hope you can see that we're pretty committed to our mission. 2018 marks the 60th anniversary of the establishment of First Command Financial Planning. I'm proud to say that I've been a client for 40 of those years, ever since I was commissioned out of the Naval Academy as a naval officer in 1978. Nobody can tell me the advice that we give doesn't work. Military families face countless financial obstacles in their careers, and we feel that having a coach, much like 6 of my 16 financial advisors over here that you see at our front table, a sounding board, a team of certified financial planners, registered investment advisors to lean on will help them to better prepare for and overcome these obstacles with professionally constructed financial plans. Whether facing possible pay voids when Congress doesn't pass a budget, or having to pick up and move their families every 12 to 36 months, or dealing with primary breadwinner who has to serve abroad while their family stays here at home base, dealing with their budget and trying to maintain their lifestyle. There's income tax issues that they have to deal with, fluctuating stock markets, a spouse who has to leave a job that was producing income that may not be reestablished at their next duty station, trying to make a decision about whether to buy or rent a home when they get to the next duty station and they're not sure how long they're going to be there. This is just a few of the things that are on the list of financial challenges that military families face. Most recently, Department of Defense came out with a new blended military retirement system that effectively lowers the pension of future military retirees by 20% compared to today's plan. Financial advisors at First Command stand ready to assist our clients so that they can comfortably attack these challenges and better prepare their families for a secure financial future. So to all our active duty members, reservists, and veterans in the audience, I thank you for serving. And a special thanks to our many clients that are in the audience. We greatly appreciate your unwavering support and loyalty to our firm. Thank you for your time.